Damn, what is up with the squad? It's favorite 19 with Uncle Tennessee's in the building with Political Lil. And
Hello,
we are
hello.
here to continue the conversation that we started last week. What the fuck, America? Let's tell the truth. Let's tell the truth. We were discussing the 7 and now 8, the 8 problems with South Carolina's dominance. And we wanted to just pick that conversation up. I must apologize because just as I was coming on, StreamYard gave me some kind of weird message, so I'm not going to be able to roll the slides right now. But we will have the conversation go, and I will share the slides on the community tab when we're done. So I don't know what's going on with my. And if I can get them up, I will put them up. But right now, it's not loading back up. So my apologies there. But we're gonna continue the conversation. Political Lil, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. What about yourself? Snowing over here in Chicago.
Got some snow over here too. It's not sticking. It's kind of just hitting the ground and disappearing. But just the fact that it's snowing is like, okay, winter is here now. Winter is here for sure. So great conversation last week. Your feelings, thoughts?
Well, just to reiterate some of the main points we went over. The problems. The first problem was the threat to the traditional power structure. Then we covered threats to historical norms, the threat of diversity and power, and then the threat of visibility of racial diversity in women's basketball. So now we're going to move on to the next set of problems. And of course, we added the number 8 problem by request. So we're going to cover that as well.
Dr. Truckenstein.
Yes, it was the so problem 5, the bias in media coverage and fan perceptions. And I'll just give you all a little rundown on that. While many fans celebrate the Gamecock achievements, some critics view their dominance through the lens tainted by racial and cultural biases. These critics sometimes focus on the team's physical style of play or label players with stereotypes rather than recognizing their skill, strategy, and teamwork. In the media, certain outlets use language to downplay the team's accomplishments or subtly reinforce stereotypes about them being tough and aggressive, and talk less about their knowledge, their strengths, their skills, and their leadership. This disparity in fan and media reaction underscores the ongoing challenges Black athletes and coaches encounter, even when they reach the pinnacle of success. And it highlights the need for more equitable representation and celebration of all teams. And this is what South Carolina is facing, as they are on the repeat tour, if you will. They're still not being, treated as champions in the media. They may be locally celebrated, maybe even statewide, but they're not celebrated on a national level. We don't have any national campaigns, and you would think that one of these corporate sponsors would have come up with some type of national campaign to bring some intrigue into the game, because we do have a reigning champion. That champion is undefeated, and there should be more celebration. I do know, had the other team won, we'd be hearing about them.
They brought back the Wheaties box. They've been on the Wheaties box at the White House.
Oh, yeah, right.
They put them on the Wheaties box.
Cereal champion.
Cereal champions. They would have been commercials. They, I don't know, T-Mobile, Verizon, somebody, they would have been everywhere. And I think even when we just talk about South Carolina and people will say, especially biased about South Carolina, and I am, but when you look at the last two, national champions, you didn't see any type of national recognition really, or national celebration of these champions. But we see like national and even like in some attempts global celebration of just individual records being celebrated, especially over the last year, what we saw with the coverage around Caitlin Clark. And deservingly so. Breaking that record deserves to be celebrated. But when you go undefeated and win the national championship, that also should be celebrated. These have been probably the two most disrespected national champions that I've seen ever. I've never seen them kind of just like an afterthought. There's no, they don't call them defending national champions. Like I said, they're even with the ring, sir, the banner drop. We didn't have coverage of the banner being dropped. We couldn't even see that on the SEC network. And even now, as we're getting ready to go into this weekend, a big weekend of basketball, we will be at least on FS1. I think we'll play on FS1. But still, no real SEC coverage outside of South Carolina in that region. I don't see us being celebrated nationally, and I don't know what that's about. I don't understand what that's about.
Yeah, because
That's
looks like they would have them on ABC at this time. But when you think about it, the last two champions were predominantly black teams. Either one was coached by white female, and the other by Don Stanley. And you had a situation. Let's go back to the 2023 championship.
Mhm.
Uh, the whole negativity towards Angel Reese and the whole just over celebration, in my opinion, of Caitlin Clark, and it just reminds me of the national attention she was getting from Stephen A. Stephen A. did
Okay.
an entire special on this young lady at the beginning of the to open the next season, and then he went on his podcast and absolutely trashed Angel Reese, saying that she was smelling herself. Now the word "smelling yourself" refers to you thinking you uppity. It's a stereotype that goes all the way back to slavery.
Mhm.
And they would anybody that was confident in what they was doing, stuff like that, they would label you a uppity Negro. Was what
Mhm.
I mean. They use the other word, but
And
and
you was usually
it's
you tend to be in the house.
yeah.
The uppity, you was in the house. You was in the house, not the field.
And
That was
then
kind of
that
okay.
this after slavery, those kind of connotations led to people being lynched. If you had if after we came out of slavery and doing Reconstruction, if you had a nice business going or this, that, and the other, and they felt like you thought too much of yourself, they would destroy your business or come in and and murder you behind it. I thought that was I was really shocked a little bit at Stephen A because of the platform he has, but I thought that was
Mhm.
very unfair. And then when she came out and mentioned that it was a mental health related to a mental health issue, he never went back and addressed it. He just left the fans hanging with the perception that she was arrogant and she was too busy chasing the bag. And you think about all the millions that Caitlin Clark has, you have never heard nobody derogatorily say she chasing the bag. But when it
Not at all.
comes to anybody, any of the African American athletes, chasing money becomes a cardinal sin. So I did want to, mention that because I thought that was very telling of how, the media has this pattern of imbalance that goes on with these predominantly black teams. And the other thing that struck me as kind of funny too, when they went into the next season and
Mhm.
Carolina was on their old run, when they got to the Elite Eight, first I was really like, why wouldn't they want that Iowa LSU game to be in the Final Four? Anyway,
Mhm.
it went on in the Elite Eight. I felt that there was a subconscious fear of backlash when I think about the way that they game plan, for that game. And what I'm speaking of is Flaw Johnson not defending Caitlin and them
Okay.
having Haley Van Lith, out defending her when they you had to have known if you had any kind of basketball IQ that there was no way she was going to be able to hold that down for no 40 minutes.
Mhm.
But I believe it was done subconsciously to keep the backlash from falling on to Flaw J. Because what if Flaw J had actually defended her and they had not got to the Final Four, then she might have, received the same treatment that Angel Reese received, that year.
Well, no,
So these are when you have a subconscious fear of a backlash, it's an unacknowledged anxiety about a negative reaction or criticism for others, causing someone to refuse to express their opinion, not want to take risks. But the main thing is pursuing, not wanting to pursue certain goals because of a deep-seated worry about potential social repercussions. And you just don't have that with other programs. But these young ladies at South Carolina are experiencing that. You think about this. When when they won the national championship, now some of them were this was their first one. You didn't see no over excessive celebration. You didn't see no ring pointing, wasn't nobody running up in nobody's grill, none of that. They was almost like a Catholic school celebration. We're gonna keep it quiet.
With the exception of one thing, and that was in the middle of everything going on, they caught Raven Johnson, and Raven in that moment gave her natural reaction to everything that had happened, the build up of their revenge tour and all of that, and she let them know that get back a motherfucker.
Yeah.
And she said it just like that and walked off. And they caught her like, wait, we want you to still talk about something, but it was her mic drop moment. Other than that, very subdued celebration. Very subdued celebration. I don't even think we saw a lot of, like, we see pictures and stuff with the trophy now. I don't even think we saw a lot of like TikToks. I don't think we saw a lot of commercials. I don't know if, for those of y'all in the chat, help me out. Regionally, and they're in Columbia, what did you guys see? Are there a lot of commercials with them locally? Are they celebrated more regionally than they are nationally? Let me know what y'all see there on the TV. I know that they did like the Canes and some other local businesses. Mr. Seafood has a deal with Lay. But how are they celebrated there and presented in the regionally for you all? Because nationally, you gotta. I'm looking for the coverage with my flashlight. We're the national. They are the defending national champions. Do you see them? Do you see them? Because I only want to keep talking about them is me. It's us. So y'all tell me. I'm in the daytime with my flashlight, looking for the coverage. Y'all let me know. Let me see. Let me jump in these comments real quick. Political, and then we'll keep going. Let's see what they're saying here. Lisa Pugh, what up? What up? What up? Danbury Sports Highlights, what's good? Jeffrey, hello, good evening. It's been raining here all day. A little snow rain here. MJ Lover 23. What up, though? B Will, what up? What up? So this is how much they disrespected SC last season. They invited the second place team to the White House after they lost for the first time ever. That was just the weirdest thing, wasn't it? That was just the weirdest thing.
2023. But I'm gonna tell you something. That was politically motivated. You notice that the first lady didn't show her face at the last championship game. But she came to the other game. See, you gotta remember, Iowa is where you have your first political caucus. Mm-hmm. Now, her husband was going to, run for where he started to, make his run for the second term. Mm-hmm. And they had plans for Caitlin Clark and that Iowa team, and they was gonna throw them a steak dinner and it wasn't the snacks like like LSU received. They were gonna use her to really market that second run to the White House. There's no doubt in my mind, because she's not a known basketball
ruined it. Hmm? It was like, and Angel and this right here ruined it, but it was like, and then it was just like, no disrespect, but what? When did you start inviting anybody to the White House?
Yeah, the first lady superseded her husband.
It was like,
but you
on,
know what?
just...
That's a protection move. You know, you see,
mm-hmm.
She seen the young lady was very disappointed because they expected Iowa after defeating South Carolina. They expected them to cruise to the championship.
Oh, it was no way they wouldn't. It was no way that they wouldn't on their way to the championship.
Like,
it was no way that they had picked out their rings.
Right.
They had been sizing everything. Right. It was no way that they wasn't going to be the champions after they beat us.
Yeah, right. Because you all had blown LSU out that year, and so they fully expected, since we have conquered the top of the mountain.
Though. They talk about Iowa like they blew us out. Iowa won by 4.
Yeah, that's another
Iowa
thing.
won by 4. It's such a misconception to me, the way they talk like we just got blew off the floor. We had to go hold the L. Caitlin gave us the business. What did she give us? 41 or something? What did Caitlin give us? She gave us. She lit us up.
40. Yeah, 40.
We didn't have an answer for her, but we still only lost by 4. So you know.
No, they
I agree.
The run out was the next game, but they sure played it like that. I mean, it was such a big deal, and you know, so you involving the halls of power. This is how big this thing was. You know, with the first lady being in attendance. I'm trying to think. I can't recall the first lady ever attending a Final Four.
And I saw Barack at a whole lot of games. I can't think of the one Michelle.
Well, Barack he's a basketball.
He's a known basketball player. You seen him play basketball,
right? He's known, but the first lady being there, and then she's sitting with
I seen Joe Biden just. I seen Biden trip just walking. It's just not an athletic. It just, he don't come across nothing about him says basket or a ball, right? So like it was just, the whole thing was just weird. And when you point out the Iowa caucus and the you know, the election coming up and wanting the second term, all of that makes so much sense. And then to put it off on the wife as if it was her idea, but it probably really wasn't. But it was a cute way to make it seem like she just wanted to be nice to the girl whose feelings got hurt. But if you're not first, you're last, and that's what happens in sports. We ain't never had a second place team come, and then why we got to come together?
Right,
you come where I'm coming.
Because you want to diminish what they accomplish. That's the whole thing.
That's why I don't do co-MVPs and I don't do participation trophies and all of that. There's a winner. Do you play to win? And if you're not playing to win, then you probably should be at the Y or at a rec league or something like that. And that's okay if you just enjoy the workout of it and the cardio of it. And but if you in this thing in the Division I type situation, you are doing it for all of those things. This is why we watch. These are all the things that you see coming up that you want to be able to do. Be invited to the White House. Get your picture on the Wheaties box, or have that national coverage. Have the media invite you out. They be on Good Morning America, and then they be on the Today Show, and then they stop by and see Kelly and whoever she talking to now, and you know all of these different places that they go. You ain't seen them. You haven't seen us hardly anywhere.
But you know what? You remember
we barely on the Charlie Feinbaum show.
Yeah, you remember even doing the Apprentice. You remember when Donald Trump told that young man that had won the Apprentice that he needed to share with the white lady that came in second?
No, I did not see that.
Yeah, and he told him, "No, I'm not doing that." He said I came on the show to win, and he got a lot of little slack, you know, for not wanting to share what he earned. You know, with her.
Why do I got to share?
Drop some white girl tears. You know.
Oh wow.
At the law, so share. You know, and when that happened, that reminded me of that. You know, when I seen that happen to LSU. I mean, you know, that's what just caused such a frenzy and you know a lot of negativity to be thrown at her, and then they get mad and go on this scorched earth campaign, you know, to try to destroy your life and your existence, and you know, just try to break you down, you know. But it all stems from the media's inability to really do fair reporting, you know, for these young ladies. So,
or at least unbiased. Yeah, right? At least be unbiased. Like I would prefer just the facts. Yeah, because sometimes the opinions they skew the narrative. They skew the narrative so much sometimes with their opinions and their the subjectiveness that they add into the reporting. Like just the facts sometimes, ma'am. Just the facts.
Yeah, you remember
we would appreciate that.
At the championship game too. One other thing that really struck me when we was watching, I was checking out the end of the game,
mm-hmm.
and when the game ended and the immediate celebration began, ESPN just plopped up all these accomplishments that Caitlin did and all her records. I was like, you haven't even given the person a chance to celebrate. And then as soon as a mic gets in front of Dawn's face, the first thing they pride in her to say she the GOAT and she's the greatest of all time. And this, that. And I'm like, this is not the proper time for this. And then you had Gail King, who had insult injury. Don't ask Dawn, how dare you win? What was you thinking? We were all rooting for her to win. And this, that, and the other. And I'm like, this is just crazy. It just didn't make any sense. It was just very rude and disrespectful. I mean, she gave you an interview she didn't have to give you. And for you to get up there and kind of insult her, I thought Don handled it well because I'd have still been cussing out. They'd have still been talking about
bleep and bleep and bleep and bleep and bleep.
All day. I was just like, and so that's a hurtful thing to even come from, another Black woman to sit up there and on national TV ask you what you was thinking. That's what really. What you talking about? What I'm thinking? I'm out here playing basketball, trying to win. That's what I'm thinking. That was another ridiculous, incident. And then you go into your undefeated, reigning champion season. I haven't seen a special. I haven't seen a documentary.
What they call it, like the run to the championship?
Yeah,
we ain't seen a run to the championship. We didn't do a look back at the undefeated season.
Right,
they didn't put out no collector's item DVD set and all the games and all the interviews and the collector's T-shirt. None of that came. Yeah. None of that came out. And I don't know if that's a South Carolina thing or NCAA thing. To me, I thought it would be an NCAA thing, but
I thought it would be an ESPN, South Carolina, and then a corporate sponsor.
Okay,
they will put something together like that. And to this day, I have not seen anything even being mentioned of something coming. About that. That was an incredible championship run. One of the best runs I've seen, and for it to not be celebrated is really disgraceful.
Super disgraceful.
Because even LSU had something locally. I know their school did some kind of run to the championship where they at least interviewed the players and did some backstories and stuff like that. It was on I think LSU got some kind of local channel.
Mm-hmm.
At least came on there, but it was available to to be seen nationally. But I have not seen that program celebrated in a way that is worthy of what those girls accomplished.
So this is totally this. I'm going to just ask this question because it just popped in my head as we was talking. Do you feel like the media's coverage of Kim Mulkey and her program has changed since she moved to a LSU versus at a Baylor?
Yeah,
it seemed like her championships at Baylor and other schools were way more celebrated than what happened at LSU. It was very hush hush, and so I was just wondering: is that because it was a predominantly a Black team, or was it just coincidence, or what do y'all think? To me, it just seemed like I saw a lot more coverage of Kim's previous championships than this one.
Well, I think we probably, if you lived in the region, you would hear a lot more. I know Baylor. I think Baylor's a private school, if I'm not mistaken, and I know that LSU is a flagship university for Louisiana, and it is extensively celebrated. They even had their own end of year athletic awards.
I see do too. Yeah. Absolutely.
They
But it just
had
seemed like
they had a
it seemed
lot
like we
going
stopped.
on with that whole thing with the recruiting of Morrow and HBL, and they, it was kind of ongoing. But what really kind of killed it was what happened once they uh, got back to Colorado. The Colorado game, and all the negativity that was going on with uh, uh, Reese and Flau'jae mom and all that. That really kind of put a damper on that program, and they start being
Okay.
kind of scaling it back.
That might have took away from some of the celebration that they wanted to put on there. Some of the stuff that happened at the beginning of the year. That's a good call out. Let me see. Let me see. Okay, they talking in the chat. Let me catch up. Iowa was on Saturday Night Live and they lost. Yeah, that was weird. You don't usually go to Saturday Night Live when you lose. It's the great white hope syndrome. They trying to keep USC and Dawn in their place. Same with Dion. It ain't gonna work. Okay. Yeah. We can talk Prime. Prime and Dawn are so similar to me, and they on this on a similar trajectory right now with what they doing with their programs. So that's when Coach Big Drip got in front of the media and then had to explain to grown men and women that her team was not bar fighters, thugs, or monkeys. I hated that for her. I hate so many times for her, but she does it with so much grace. Great points, political ill. Rutgers being called a nappy-headed hose, that was crazy. HBO can't guard a wall. Okay. You might be right, political ill. Makes so much sense. Yeah, what's good? Frank Wright had a long ass day, but a cold beer and a hot plate make the bad day fade away. That's what I'm talking about. You answered my earlier questions. Tessa, Chloe, Ash, and Powell all have decent endorsements here in the city. Okay, that's another one too. Chloe seemed like when you look at the rest of these young ladies that have been getting coverage, Caitlin, Paige, Cam. Chloe seemed like she have the game, the game and the brand that says she can be covered like that too. Does she not get that coverage because she's on a predominantly black team? Does she not get that coverage because she's playing for Dawn? Is it too soon? I feel like Chloe's been coming into her own. She started last year. She's starting this year. I think that she should be talked about as a player that could be a SEC player of the year, a national player of the year, depending on how she goes. But they don't talk about Chloe Kitts. And
They really don't. And
they don't talk about Chloe Kitts at all. And Chloe Kitts is a heck of a brand to me. Like, to me, Chloe Kitts is marketable. She fits all. She's a even though she just had the academic whatever. She's a honor roll student. Starting player. Hard worker. I don't know that I've ever heard her name mixed up in anything. But
and good looking. She's
good looking. She's good looking. She's checking all the boxes. But I don't know if she's getting any national love. I don't understand that. The only thing that I could tie it back to is Dawn Staley and South Carolina being a predominantly black team in the PWI. But I could be wrong. Y'all talk to.
No, I think the term marketability, which is a coded way of favoring whiteness in sports media and endorsements, you would think it should fit a young lady like Miss Kitt. She's marketable. They try to say that black athletes are not marketable. They don't appeal to a broad audience. But what's the excuse for her? She's a champion. She should be being on commercials. She should be a cover girl. Brands ought to be knocking and chasing her down. Is her presence in South Carolina affecting her ability to be recognized?
I wonder.
It's almost like a backlash.
And it'll be interesting to watch the coverage around her and then the coverage that her little sister gets at Florida as she starts coming to her own.
But you think about the coverage around Brink compared to her. Brink just doing the swimsuit issue and how she was recognized in college, and for kids to Chloe to not be recognized like that. That's a little bias.
I think the one thing that Cameron had going for her that she leaned into was the fact that Steph Curry was her god brother or whatever that was. So every time they said Cam Brink, they said something about Steph Curry being her god brother. By the time they got finished, it seemed like they had lived together and grew up together and played Tonka trucks together, something. So I think she leaned into that, and by her being in the Bay Area where Steph was at, allowed her brand to kind of attach to that and kind of be that. I kind of pushed her a little bit, I think. And I don't know that Chloe has attached herself to anybody like that, but I mean, this is a goal. I think Chloe won gold as a FIBA player. Y'all remind me in the chat. So, like I said, I think she checks all the boxes. She's total marketable package. Greek related to Curry. Exactly. That's what I said. Let's see. Leigh and Killer did a meet and greet at Canes in Columbia that Wednesday. I remember that. Okay. The parade in Columbia, they deserve that. Leigh too, of course. But outside of that, though,
on
it again. On a national level, Gail King told Coach Don, "How do you feel?" Because we're all rooting for Iowa. Every time I hear that, it cracked me up because you know what? I guess the thing is, Gail, what were you thinking in asking that question? Is the question that I want asked. Like, did you write that question? Did you just read it off the prompter and you wasn't sure what it was? Like, do you watch basketball? And if you were rooting for Iowa, why? Why? What was it? What was it about Iowa that you saw? I would have wanted to have a totally different conversation with her. That was really weird, and it was really disrespectful. It was very disrespectful. I don't think it would be that bad, depending on if we lose by 3. Okay, yeah. No Mo Dot was good. Still dealing with the rain. What's the deal today? We talking the issues with the dominance of South Carolina. They didn't even show us celebrating when the clock wound down. Instead, we saw Caitlin getting her goodbyes, didn't we? So it's funny that you say that, because when I go back and I watch the live, I'm literally on the live saying, "Why is Caitlin still on my TV after the game is over and the celebration is going on?" And we're watching her walk as if, when Michael Jordan won, and we watched him. He walked down the tunnel and then he laid on the floor with the trophy and with the towel. He had won. That's why we followed him. He had won. That's why we wanted to see. We wanted to see what he was gonna do. I ain't never followed no loser nowhere. Have you? I ain't never followed no loser nowhere. Have you? These is real questions. For what? For what? What do we want to know about there? So for me, it's so it's so on purpose in our face. That it's maddening. It's maddening. Undefeated running back after losing in the semis of 2020 should have been celebrated. Right. Should have been cameras everywhere. Yesterday I noticed Carolyn Peck didn't say a word about Raven. Sigh. Nothing. I'm starting to look at Peck weird and feeling very much vibes from Peck. Why? Bree Wayne, we got to talk about that. Coach Peck is only talking about the offensive players for the most part, while Raven is struggling. She only sees offense and not the defense Raven is playing. Okay. Comment is wrong. That was when Iowa lost to LSU, not SC. I don't know. I think Peck roots for us, but being our op is more reputable. Oh, gosh. I always wonder why SC players don't get enough shine overall. I don't know if it's just the media or does the school need to do more to promote the team. I've always wondered. Let's talk about it. Is it the school that needs to do more? Is it the NCAA? Is it a combination? Is it a partnership with?
Let me tell you something. This is an NCAA championship. Even South Carolina is a school that happened to have won it, but it's your championship. Okay, you have marketing capital in terms of dollars that come in from sponsorships and this, that, and the other. So I expect them to take some of the capital and place it on your champion. Exactly. They don't want to seem to do that. Then ESPN, your job is to market your program in a way that attracts more people, and also satisfies the current audience you have. You're not talking about them either, and then even when you look at the sponsorship, it should be some collective sponsorship. In other words, do this. Imagine had a predominantly white team won. Just imagine what kind of coverage we would.
But listen, if UConn would have won, do you know these ladies would have been just flying down the road in Mercedes? Rolls Royce. You know, getting the pictures of them, just the champions in these cars. And maybe not Mercedes, whatever. But you would have had all of these things coming out the woodworks. They would have been probably selling shoes. They would have been selling TV shows. They would have been selling cars. They would have been selling clothes. They would have been selling makeup. They would have been selling apps. They would have been selling services. They would have been everywhere. And they would have been everywhere. But we haven't seen that probably since UConn. And so does UConn, and I can't even say that I think UConn does a better job of it, because I agree with you. It's an NCAA championship. The NBA championship, they tell you they run that. The WNBA championship, they run how they market that. The NFL championship, look at how the NFL does. And I go back to that Marshawn Lynch commercial, that Super Bowl commercial where they had all those greats in there.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't matter the color, it didn't matter the era, it didn't matter your off-field stuff. If you were an NFL legend, you were in that commercial. And that's the beautiful thing about sports. Color shouldn't matter at all. The only color that should matter is the orange on that ball and the green from what you make it from these games.
It's supposed to be the only place where you have an even or level playing field.
Level playing field. Exactly, and that's what draws us all to it, because you can leave the rest of that stuff. You're supposed to be able to leave the rest of that stuff behind, and the purest of the pure, the skills win the game. Mm-hmm. And the way this other stuff factors in all the time, it takes away from it. It takes away from it. Oh, I see y'all going crazy in the chat. Let me try to catch up. Okay, let's see here. ESPN already saying they're going to wait for Dallas Wings to schedule their games. Shaking my head. Oh, wow. Nationally, the young ladies don't get attention they deserve, but in SC, the girls are celebrities. Dawn has SC eaten from the palm of her hand. The donors give Dawn whatever she wants. Okay. I'm glad to hear that, at least locally. Mm-hmm. Like, I would love to get down there and just experience that. I do. Let's see. What else y'all saying here? Don't listen to Washu when it comes to SC. Oh, Chloe is on a black team today. The black guy, they're looking at her as not marketable. What does who Chloe dating got to do with whether she's marketable or not? Jamie, I hate that even factors in. If that's the case, that's disappointing. Yeah, Chloe kisses her, Chlorilla. But yeah, to me, Chloe is marketable. UConn got so much influence even over the women's Olympic team. Really? Still, you think and when you say UConn, Mike, is that UConn or is that Geno? Mm-hmm. And is there a difference between UConn and Geno? Mike, they got replacements, but not as good as Raven. On a good day, her defense still there though. Blake, so Vanderbilt looking good. Chloe is adorable and can ball. The second part is the most important part. Exactly. That is the most important part. But I think too, like when you talk about the marketability, some of the stuff that they say about them, their style of play, even with UConn equals Geno, even with like Aaliyah Boston, a Gamecock who's in the WNBA now. Does she throw ugly elbows? Does she throw ugly elbows, or is elbows a part of the game?
Part of the game?
Is elbows get thrown as part of the game, but she's this. I don't know, this elbow thrower. Any other time, there's nothing. I've never heard anybody say anything mean about her other than these elbows. But I think, AB didn't get a lot of attention when she was there. The media ignored her, and they ignored her as the rookie of the year as well. Mm-hmm. Chloe can date who she wants. Yeah, Chloe can date who she wants. But yeah, I think AB was one of the most underrated rookies of the year too. I think that they'll cover Caitlin Clark more as rookie of the year and as the standard rookie of the year than they will Aaliyah than they did Aaliyah Boston. Mm-hmm. We've had the number one attendance for past 9 years. All races come out to support Dawn and the girls here. You got old white men in the South wearing the young ladies' jerseys. That's a beautiful thing. And this is the thing, JB, and I'm glad you said that. And I think that was what Plies kind of was alluding to when he had his weekend at he came for, I think, the UConn game last year on Super Bowl Sunday. He talked about what an experience it was for him to be in there and to see these people, all races, all walks of life, all different backgrounds, cheering and supporting the same thing. Like if you go back and watch his I guess it was a live clip or reel or whatever that was on X, like you can see like he was really emotionally affected by whatever took place in CLA. Like it was just this magical experience that I wanted to be able to experience, that I want to be able to experience. But I also think that that's the type of thing, that's the type of coming together in a state like South Carolina, where people probably don't think that happens, that you want to see. This is what sports can do. This is what, when you get away from all of the other stuff, and the purest of the purest, we can all come together and enjoy all of these different things without all the extra BS. And I think part of that, they may not show it because people may really start to buy into it. And, you know, I was just having a conversation with somebody, and they were saying like, yo, there's still good people in the world. There's still there's still plenty of good people in the world. If you stop just watching the news will have you think it's no good out here, but it's a lot of good out here. The way the media covers stuff, and it goes. I think that's the same thing with South Carolina. You would think it's no good there, the way that they don't cover us, but we're champions, and those girls have great stories to tell. The Camila Cardoso was a story that should have been told for the whole 4 years she was there.
Right. When I think about it, I don't really know the backgrounds. I mean, you think about LSU and the Flaw J story. You know, a fascinating story. You know how she came up, and you know things that she did to secure the bag for her family. You know the Reese story, going kind of back to high school. But I can't think of any South Carolina player that I really know a backstory. You know, and
probably Asia. Probably Asia's the one that I would say.
Yeah, Asia, because I read her book.
She wrote a book, right? That's what I was gonna say. Other than that, what I learned from people in the chat with people that are local there in South Carolina share about at least some of the ladies that are from the South Carolina area. Give me a little bit of a backstory, but no, you don't see that coverage. You don't see those little shorts or those little bios or those little 30 for 30s on this team, anything like that. That would be helpful. Or what is it? The SEC does the SEC stories. None of that stuff.
Yeah.
Asia, we only know because she's the top player in the league. Before that, they didn't talk about her much. Exactly.
Well, see, that goes to another point. Now you starting to hear all this nitpicking, concerning South Carolina's play. You know, they looking for something to nitpick, and I see they trying to target Raven. You know.
Well, yeah, because Raven was on the revenge tour last year.
Yeah,
so who better to target when you're not playing your best now?
But the thing is, why should this young lady be the subject of any type of targeting just for defending somebody? You know, that was her job. You know, not to get ran over, but to put up a defense and to pick pockets or do whatever, she had to do in order for them to get the win. You know, we're not concerned about you. That goes back to my point about this subconscious fear of backlash. You know, it seems to me from what I've been hearing about Raven, and how kind of South Carolina is just not getting out to like a smash you down type of start. They figuring it out. This is, I was telling somebody, I think earlier today, the young lady has a new team she's commanding. She's a floor general. You know, you've been playing with Cardoso for a while. You know, that's an automatic in your head. You got to reprogram yourself that she's not there at the, coming up to the high post. So you have to adjust to the players around you. So that takes game experience. That's not something you're gonna run up in practice. You have to get out there and physically, learn these new players that are on the floor, the different lineups that are on the floor, this, that, and the other. I just think she's getting a lot of this, just nitpicking to me.
And it is nitpicking. And what I want people to understand about Raven and where she's at right now is that, like you said, to build on what you said about her playing with Camila all those years, and like she said, that was if you go back to Raven, that was her safety valve. If all else fails, I can just throw it to Camila and she gets it done. Now Dawn is saying, Raven, I need for you to find your points in the offense. Raven is finding her shot in the Florida offense. It's not falling. So
Right.
it's not that she's not hitting the shot. She can shoot. She's not hitting the shot. She got to stop thinking and just shoot the ball. But it's not like she's not pressing in the offense. She's pressing her shot. So if she slows that down and knocks the shot down because she's shooting it right in the rhythm of the offense. She's not making the best play. She's not making the right pass to be able to try to get her points off. And what I saw her do in the game last night is when everything else broke down, Raven attacked the basket a couple times, and then one time even ended up in an and one. I don't know if she hit the free throw, but when the game's on the line, she's gonna do what it takes to get the win. She's not making the threes. I don't think that she's made a three yet all this season. Once she makes sees one go in, she'll keep shooting. Steph has slumps. Basketball players have slumps. If she wasn't able to get the shot, I would be concerned. She's not knocking the shot down. You're not keeping her from any shot that she wants. When she wants to attack the basket, she attacks it. When she wants to find that wide open three in the corner, she finds that wide open three in the corner. It hasn't stopped her from rebounding. It hasn't stopped her from getting her assist. It hasn't stopped her from blocking shots, getting steals, leading her team, being the floor general. I don't even see her really getting down on herself while she's on the court. Now, she did have some back and forth with coach, but you're gonna have that when you the floor general and that's the coach and you trying to figure things out.
Right, you extension of the coach.
This is something that she did. She was used to doing something for, I don't know, what did we say, 40 some games? She's been doing this 4 or 5 games. Give her a minute. She'll be all right. The one thing that you know about Raven is she's a fighter. When you think that you got her beat, she's coming. She's gonna keep coming. So whatever this is right now, she will make an adjustment and keep playing. If her defense was suffering, I would say bench her. I agree, Emily Jones, but her defense ain't gonna suffer, and that's what keep her on the floor. That defense is not gonna suffer.
You know, one other thing I wanted to mention too, and one thing I'm looking for with all of the press and different things being said about the physicality, people just don't know that this implicit bias can show up in officiating. I'm kind of looking at the way their games are being called. They play at the same physicality of the other team, yet they piling up calls. Just knick-knack, kind of things. And I think it's going to get progressively worse as the competition increases. Okay. It's an unfair kind of look at them.
I see the chat saying that they think maybe that they're wanting to start pushing Juju Watkins, who hasn't won a championship yet, but they don't push SC enough and they won. It might be something against Dawn, but it's kind of weird as hell. I agree.
All it is against Dawn is that she's disrupting the normal power structure. You get so used it's systemic. You just get so used to it being this particular way, and then when you can't control the way it is, same situation with Deion Sanders. When you can't control them, that's a recipe for them to go mentally crazy. And then they all of a sudden they want to bring all ops against you. And do anything they can to kind of stop you. So
and I get it, y'all. I know that they pushing Juju, but understand that Juju is a 6'2" guard coming out of USC. That's talented as hell. The thing that makes me sad about the way that they're pushing Juju is they continue to just push one of us at a time. From a female standpoint and from a black standpoint, it can always be more than one. It always is more than one. We don't have to pit Juju against anybody. It could be Juju and Hannah and Lay and Madison. You know how much fun that would be? And Addie and Audie. You know how much fun it would be if they was pushing these narratives and they had these stories and these things popping up all over the place.
10 freshmen last year, the top 10 freshmen.
Exactly.
And it was a beautiful class, that came into the college rank. It was nothing done special. I ain't seen not one poster with all of them on it except for thumbnails I seen on YouTube. I just thought that was a real waste of.
But they'll tell you that, what was that? Is that the 96 NBA class? Name them. The 96 NBA draft class? Name them. Bad boys. It was Kobe and Allen and Ray and name them, right? Because they pushed them all. You knew all their names before they got to the NBA. Tell me you didn't.
Yeah.
Even when Allen and Ray had they back and forth, they still pushed them both. I don't know. It's something with women. It's something with women of color, especially where it's like you whether it's rap, entertainment, whatever. It's like you can only have one. You can only be one at a time, and that's so not necessary. Steve Nash was in that class. Keep going. 96 was a nasty class.
Mm-hmm.
But all of them household names. College hoops, WNBA, we can do that. All I see on my timeline is Cooper Flag. I ain't got time for you right now. She should develop well. The only thing is if she could stay healthy. Find out if she could play through knick-knack injuries will be the key. Okay, you talking about Texas A&M. But and they want to push light skin versus dark skin. Lane Raven don't get love. Okay, Miss D, we having the conversation now.
Right. Think about that.
Wu-Tang, you can all be so simple. Here we go. Because now we talk about the colorization of it now. Is Tessa more marketable than Lay? Is Tessa more marketable? Right? They don't talk about Tessa at all. I don't know what happened to this poor light skin. She's the only light skin I know they treat like this. This light skin, they didn't just bury Tessa. They don't talk about Tessa at all.
Right.
At all.
Yeah.
But let me see some of these other schools, they get a little bit more coverage. Juju, like Big Foe, Hannah, Olivia, Madison are just a few that can be all pushed right now. Yeah, Big Foe. Listen, Big Foe, like, yeah, y'all don't gotta worry about me. Y'all don't gotta worry about me. I'm gonna be a millionaire before I get there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be a millionaire before I get there.
You coming through that music channel.
Oh yeah, Tessa gonna make them talk about her. But I'm just saying, it's a shame that they don't talk about her. And then when they do start to talk about her, it's gonna be at the expense of somebody on the team that's darker. It won't be in conjunction with everything that's going on. And that's crazy. Look at every WNBA player who got endorsements and not white. They're all very pretty. With men, they don't consider if they're good looking, in my opinion. Yeah, Mike, you're right. It don't matter what they look like. They in the commercial. You hear me? When it comes to the men, they actually talk about Tessa Moore. Didn't she get slam cover even before yeah, but I don't think that they don't talk about her as the freshman that went and dropped 19 and sealed the natty. Yeah. They're not flashing her picture like that. And I love Hannah. Y'all know I like Juju too. But Tessa dropped 19 as a freshman in the national championship. We should be talking about her somewhere. That's Miss Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't her they do try to make it
the same place.
They are, and they do try to make it Tessa versus Lay, and it ain't. It's Tessa and Lay. You see how Tessa and Lay play together with each other? It's so funny, Bree Wayne, that you said that. They do try to make it like you could like Tessa or you could like Lay. No, we like Tessa Lay. We like Tessa Lay. That's who we like. Tessa Lay. Not a Tesla, a Tessa Lay. That's what we like. The both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to HDITV. What's up, nephew? Exactly. I don't know. Anthony Edwards ain't a household name. If he's ugly, the good looks did help. Okay. I guess still attractiveness sells. I mean, sex sells. I don't deny that sex sells. But what I would say about the South Carolina team is they got some sex appeal for everybody. They got some sex appeal for everybody. No matter what you like, they got something for you. If you like girls in dresses, they got girls in dresses. If you like them in suits, they got them in suits, and they clean up nice. What y'all say? They ate or they step? What is it that y'all say? Because they was clean at the ESPN. Okay, we was talking about the media coverage. We was talking about ESPN. Now let's go back to the ESPYS. Do y'all remember the night of the ESPYS? Who was here watching the ESPYS with me? And we was waiting on what? Team of the year. Do y'all remember what happened the night of the ESPYS? They preempted the ESPYS with a I think it was the president talk. And then they was like, we're gonna start the ESPYS on time. And do y'all remember that we didn't get to see them get that award? And we had to go back and look for them to get that award and that celebration online. Wow. Talking about the disrespect. Just the little stuff. The little stuff.
You see,
they turned it off. They turned that shit off on us. Yeah, they ate at the ESPYS. Yeah, they were so pretty, didn't they? They didn't show it. We had to go find it. When have you ever? When it's ESPN? This it ain't like the news coming on at 11 o'clock, right? It's whatever it is that Scott Van Pelt, ES Sports Center at 11, whatever. His ass can come on at 11:07, 11:08, 11:09. This is ESPN. This your show.
Right. It ain't no.
We got all dressed up to come here. It's 14 teams or something in this thing. We won it, and we didn't even get to see the speech. We barely got to see the coverage. That was on accident, y'all.
No, that's institutional reluctance.
We was fire at the ESPYs too. You hear me? We was fire. Hands across the board. Everybody ate. Had the YouTube to find the ESPYs. I don't even remember who it was. Somebody put the link in the Discord for me to be able to watch that thing. And then they told us we're gonna play it. Then they said, well, what we'll do is we'll play the whole thing over. And what did they do? No, what they did on the East Coast, right when it got to the end, they went and started the West Coast presentation of it. That was really weird. Yeah, racism. Yeah, two words. I was watching. Yeah, they cut it off. That was crazy. After they gave us the award, and didn't want to show nobody they gave it to us. What kind of craziness is that? What kind of craziness is that? I'm gonna give you this award, but don't tell nobody.
And then you didn't just hear it. I mean, see it repeated on even on the social media. It just didn't blow up like it should have.
And so there's a lot of things that I wonder going to that. I wonder if they weren't as comfortable as I was with Lay having her suit on and Ashlyn having her suit on. I don't know. I wonder these things. I wonder if Lay don't get the coverage that she gets because her and Jamesia said that they are a power couple in the LGBT community and they are owning that. And they purposely came out on their TikTok and said, this is who we gonna be. I applaud them young people for that because they catch a lot of flack for that. And then to be women of color doing that in this game right now is something. It's something even bigger that plays with how they market it and how people approach them and all of that. He said, but Lay and Ash was the only two. Says Kanye West. Cues up Kanye West. I wonder, yeah, very attractive ladies. Yeah, but I just wonder how much of that Lay and Ash was sharp. Lay put them shades on to let y'all know I'm a rock star up here. Did y'all see her? She told y'all on the Instagram, get dressed with me. She told y'all on the Instagram, get dressed with me. Did you watch her? It's that kind of stuff. Stuff that just plays into it. Just chip a little bit away at the good that they do. All of that stuff just chip away at it.
Right, and it diminishes what they do, and it affects them later on when they're going after endorsements because they're not in the conscious mind of the audience that some of these sponsors may be trying to attract. It's just very unfair that they have to continue to endure this. It takes away your freedom. It takes away what you work hard for because nothing has come to these young ladies easy.
No.
This takes for you to even get to the level of college. You have to put in time. It takes a lot of time to crack. To hone your skill. And then for you to, not have that recognized for some reason in somebody else's mind. It does something to you. After a while, no one escapes the mental pressure. I heard even LeBron talking about he getting off the internet. He must be getting torched, probably behind what's going on with his son. But
what happened with his son? I ain't even heard. I don't.
The back and forth with him going to the G League or him being able to travel with the team and not having to.
Oh, okay.
Everybody's so concerned about how he's trying to raise his child.
I'm not a LeBron fan. But
I'm not a LeBron fan neither.
I'm not a LeBron fan, but
of a man taking care of his son.
Yeah, I don't care. And that's the thing. I'm not a LeBron fan, but the way that LeBron is fanatical about his family, I'm here for it. And the way that he is fanatical about his family in front of everybody, I'm here for it. I love it.
Yeah.
All the little corny stuff he do, all the handshakes, all of that stuff, the stuff that he did, I mean, he just goes above and beyond with the way that he shows up as a father in front of the camera and the way that he, cheers on his sons. Like, LeVar Ball did it, and he got on my nerves. He got on my nerves. LeVar Ball got on my nerves, but he got men in the NBA with doing it his way. He got on my nerves with it. It was like, hey man, you putting a real target on Lonzo's back with how you talking about some of these other players. So I wish that he would have did some of that different, but the way that he championed his sons and cheered for his sons, and the way Deion champions his sons and cheers for his sons, and he's a coach, but he's a father first, and you get to see this in the camera. It flies in the face of the narrative that they want people to push. And this is totally off topic, but I'm just gonna say it's like, because I think we have to get away from this narrative of the deadbeat dad.
Mm-hmm.
There are deadbeat fathers. I don't know a lot of them, especially not now. There was a generation where it was like maybe they weren't showing up, and it's still some that don't do their job. But at the same time, there are so many of them that do. That we got to be able to challenge that narrative, and whether they married together or not, it's a lot of men that show up. Like the men in my family, the men that I know in my life, whether they with their women or not, they're fathers, and they proud to be fathers, and they girl dads and twin dads and boy dads, and so I just I'm glad that we have these type of platforms and these type of discussions to be able to challenge these narratives and push back and say, even if that is a narrative, there is another narrative, and challenge what we see in the media.
Well, one more thing we need to discuss.
Yeah.
We need to go into the eighth problem. And we've talked about systemic barriers. That was something that we was kind of discussing. But is it gender bias or simply racism? Because this happens. You think about it. South Carolina has 2 black coaches, and that's a fact that both teams are doing well. As that young man was the coach of the year, I believe, in 2023. And even that's not being celebrated. I don't know of any other time that I can think of where there was at the Division I level where you had a black female basketball coach and a black male coach at the same time at the same university.
At the PWI?
Yeah, the PWI. I can't recall that happening. It's certainly not in recent memory. But even that's not being celebrated, not being talked about.
No, and I think they was both in the tournament last year. I think they both made the tourney last year. I know the men. I don't know if they got put out in the first round. I know they was out early enough for him to make Chloe's game. But yeah, so this is a good question, and y'all help me out in the chat. Has there been a time where there was a and it's successful programs? It would have to be successful for them to be there, because they're not going to keep a female black head coach or a male black head coach if their programs aren't successful. But can y'all think of a time when there was at a PWI a sitting black head coaches? Y'all run them likes up for me. Can y'all think of a time? I political ill. That one threw me off, and that was actually Dr. Truckerstein, Harold Williams, that pointed that out and was saying, when, if ever, have we saw this take place, and then it's not celebrated, and does that keep some of the celebration and the coverage, the media coverage off of what they're doing, because they are black head coaches?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I'm glad the Gamecock Mamas don't be fighting on X too. We can't have that. We can't have that. So, when you think about them having the 2 black head coaches, and when we go, nobody in the chat has been able to say that, so I think this is the first time. How important is that? And then what do you think is the right way to cover that? Like, how do we cover that, or how should it be covered?
Well, it's very important to the young men and young ladies that are going to be coming, you know, coming up and seeing this. It's one thing I think you pointed out. You know, when you see yourself, you see possibility.
Right.
You're
Absolutely.
looking. You might be a young lady that's thinking about getting into coaching, and you see a Don standing. And you know that it's possible for you to be at a large school doing these big things. Same way
And
with the
there it
men,
is.
because in the men's game, you sent me an article. I did think about that. I'm like, we don't have the John Thompsons and coaches that Cheney and some of these black male coaches that were really pioneers and broke through at these
Mm-hmm.
PWIs and brought a lot of young men along, because a lot of times too, it's important for black men to see other black men be successful. That's
Absolutely.
very important, and to see them in positions of authority, to see them running programs, and because you got young impressionable minds that you have, coming through the sport. Um, but it seems to be a
Gosh, yeah.
fading thing.
I forgot about Kevin Ollie. Kevin Ollie did win at UConn, and he got
That's right, a
bombed out of
championship,
there.
but he's not a household name.
Nope.
Not well
I don't
known.
know where. I don't even know where Kevin Ollie is. Kevin Ollie at now, and I agree, Maggie. Baby, it's because the media is. It's because they're media trained. If the black head coaches acted the fool, they get all the recognition. Not the good kind, though.
Mhm.
If
Yeah,
Dawn was out here with her bust down to the left, uh, you know, cussing at her significant other, whoever that is, and acting the fool in the streets and all of that, it would be all the coverage. She'd be all the rage. Do right, mind her business, keep her private life private, show up and do her job every day, be God fearing, be a dream merchant, uh, be the change that she wants to see, be all of those be all of those things, and she's barely on. When she does get coverage, it's still in the negative light most of the time.
yeah. Somebody
Just
questioning the
Dawn's
program.
response to Bluter's bar fight comment made headlines all over the place. They only push the coaches involved in controversy. Oh, the Juwan Howard slapping people. Yeah, Juwan. Yeah, that was a heck of a night. I remember that one. That's the kind of stuff that they cover. Because I have a question, y'all. Does anybody know Dawn? What is her graduation rate for her players? Does she have 100% graduation rate? Do we know? Anybody know? Dawn Carday half of the things that spew out of monkey mouth. Hmm? Dawn couldn't say half of the thing. Can't say half of the things that spew out monkey mouth. Hell no.
Yeah.
I agree, Mangy baby. I hate that they even had to do that. Yes, honey, Big Four Mama been at it again. They're saying the Big Four is the best thing. Oh goodness. Compare what Kim Mulkey said after the fight and Coach said after LSU squabble. Yeah, for sure. Let Dawn go out there in a do rag, go grill in her mouth. Field day. Field day. We will be live with Coach Dawn every time, every chance we get. Every chance we get. But no, she couldn't go out there and say, "Well, I wish Camilla would have pushed Angel." She couldn't go out there and
Oh
say
yeah,
that.
yeah.
She couldn't go out there and say, "I wish Angel would have pushed Camilla." She couldn't say anything like that. She had to apologize.
I,
93% grad rate for Coach Staley. Thank you. 93% grad rate for Coach Staley. Do we talk about that?
that's outstanding. No, you don't hear. You don't even hear that
I had
celebration.
to ask. National champion. National champions. The standard is graduation and national championships.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you found one men's and women's black head coach at Georgetown at the same time being successful. Thank you, Russell. I only bring the facts to the chat. Evans, please let me know who they were. Moki say anything. Moki got up there and said, "Do coaches get through out?" Moki got up there and said, "She don't know what coaches get through out for." Nah, she didn't have to apologize. Pushback. Dawn, she don't play about education. Nah, Dawn not playing. You better go to class. You better go to class more than you better be more on time to class than you are to practice, and don't be late to practice. Now figure that out. You better be more on time to class than you are to practice, and don't be late to practice. Another black coach is Adia Barnes in Arizona with a 92% grad rate. That's also where Ja is at now. Wish Patrick Ewing would last longer at Georgetown. I didn't know what happened. Patrick just didn't win or something, right? And did Patrick come? So did it go John Thompson, Patrick Ewing, and then John Thompson Jr.? Is that how it went? Because John Thompson Jr. came in also behind Big John Thompson too. Or am I misremembering? When the reporter kept on trying to talk about Watkins coming back to the game, I love how Don handled that situation. That was another just. And so, what did Don say she needed to? What was Don's word?
Acclimate. She needs to get.
Yeah, she said she needs to get acclimated. And they said, well, what does acclimate mean?
I'm like, yeah, he act like that was a new word in the dictionary. He knew exactly what it was, but for him to turn around and try to challenge her on what it meant, you know what?
That's why I love. Means? Yes, where are you from? Yeah, because you probably headed back there. That's what that meant. That's what where you from meant. You probably headed back there. Probably won't be back here then. You probably be.
I handed him a dictionary.
Acclimated. She said define acclimated. She said she got to get acclimated. Yeah, she defined acclimated with acclimated. What? Stop playing with me. Big Drip is all about the girls getting their grades up and going to class. And you better not be late. You won't play. You better not be late. John Thompson, assistant coach for years after Big John retired. Okay. There was a white head. I don't know. I am not a dictionary yet. What kind of question was that?
Yeah.
What kind of question was that? And then this was like, there was a white head coach. KBAF, I don't know what you're telling me. Coach Coleman is coming in. It's coming in on the ones and twos. A little crazy. Let me know. That's why Don shut the reporter down and skipped him. Then came back around to make sure he rephrased the question. Yeah, she ain't no rookie. All of Dawn's players talk about how good she is as a coach, and they love her for what she teaches outside of basketball. All of them say she's a second mom to them. That's big. Yeah, more of them all talk about, and I think even was it McDowell that said like it was the conversation about like who are you?
Mm-hmm.
What is it
what's
that?
Your why?
What's your why?
Mm-hmm.
Georgetown coach's history. Me too. He was so wrong for asking that he ain't coming to Columbia no more. He didn't know who he was talking to. Yeah. If he doesn't know what acclimated means, then he needs to register for a couple of USC classes. No. If he doesn't know what acclimated means, he's gonna have to take it back to middle school for me. No register. You can't get into USC if you don't know acclimated means, man. You baby 21. You take that on back to middle school. That reporter no longer covers SC women. Not sure about men. Oh wow. Yeah, he wouldn't let it go. It was just, and she deals with that. And nobody. I don't know if they should. It's not come to her rescue, right? But just like, hey, man, come on, what are you doing? Nobody says that. Like, hey, come on, that's not what we're here for. That's not the tradition of this. That's not the energy of this. Nobody ever says that. They let these crazy lines of questioning continue. Craig Escher, Johnson, Patrick Ewing, and now Ed Cooley for Georgetown coaches. Thank you. Welcome to HDITB. Political Lil, what do you got as we get ready to wrap this thing up?
I just want to say a couple of things. Don Stanley and even Lamont Paris are making history, not just for South Carolina, but for college sports as a whole. Their success is a testament to their skill, leadership, and resilience in a system that often works against them. Now, it's a system that works against them, but we don't have to work against them. And what I'd like to say in my closing thoughts, we got to continue to support these people that are, operating in these spaces, when we know people are not really supportive of them. We have to continue to support these players, especially these young black women. The young black men as well, but especially these young black women. These are going to be, future leaders in our community, future moms of children that may grow up to be other athletes. So the final thing is we got to continue to point this out. Don't let things slide. When you're on other channels and you see this kind of negativity going on, because I have a list of channels I go on and I light them up on a regular basis. A regular basis. A couple of them reported me. I was just like, shocked. But no, you're not. I'm not going to let you slide. You're not going to say things about these players, about these coaches that are representing my
Accountability.
community, and then think you just gonna slide by without it being addressed because it is really rather ridiculous at this point.
Especially because it's brands, NIL money on the line. With
Yeah.
how you cover these women and don't cover these women affects what that offer is to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so we got to continue to encourage our young people to know how to navigate these spaces. And one way you navigate them is to be educated. You know, I went through the military for 10 years, and you know, the racism in the military is you know, way different, than you'll wind up in some other spaces. But I had the education to handle it. I had the knowledge when they were trying to run games, like you walking in your uniform and they telling you they don't see color. You had to be ready to respond. I said, "Sir, are you colorblind?" you know, I know you see a black person in a uniform. So and you have to be able to check people at the door when they're doing these things, and just don't let the narrative spread. And then you get a show or get a channel, and get a blog, do something to counteract these narratives out here, and be ready to battle these narratives or wherever you see them rear their ugly heads, so to speak.
Yeah, and be ready to stand on business. The one thing that I had to get over was they'll make you not want to say something for fear of not being an angry black woman.
Mm-hmm.
They can only make you an angry black woman if you're angry. Stand on your business. Stand on your business. I mean that. Stand on your business. Regardless of what it is. You only angry if you angry. If you're not mad and you just standing on business, then say what's on your mind. So many times, especially like in corporate America, I held back from saying what was on my mind, from wanting to be not wanting to be the angry black woman, not wanting to be had that little check mark put next to my name for when it's time for the review or when it's time for the promotion. They wasn't giving me the promotion anyway. It wasn't going to me anyway, no matter how qualified I was, because they already had an idea of what that person that was going in that seat was supposed to look like, and I was never going to be cookie cutter enough. So once I realized that, I just start letting them know this is what it is. Yeah, the angry black woman narrative was created by the culture vultures to hide the terrible treatment of black women for centuries. Absolutely. Going through that Uncle Sam racism right now. Political ill salute for your strength at checking them. Absolutely. So yes, they can only make you an angry black woman if you're angry. Other than that, stand on business and stand with your facts. And sometimes you say it loud, and sometimes you say it quiet, and sometimes you say it with cuss words, and sometimes you say it.
Just be tactful.
Yeah, you try to be tactful for the most part, but the thing, you may have to learn tact. Tact may have to come, but don't sacrifice saying what's on your mind because you don't have the right, because you lack tact. I would rather tell somebody my apologies for how I'm finna get this to you, but you're gonna have to catch this right here, and then let them know what it is. My apologies for how I'm gonna have to give it to you, but I don't have a more tactful way. But it's imperative that you understand that, and it's okay. Karens get angrier than any other women on the planet, and they do. The Karens do. But for us, for us, stand on business, especially
Know
now.
what you know, and don't be afraid to to speak on things when they're not correct. That's a problem that we have. Silence is not golden when there's things that are being done incorrectly, or things being done that diminish the accomplishments. We cannot remain hidden figures, because there's too
Exactly.
many hidden figures. Especially some of the things that we've accomplished. Under these very difficult circumstances. Our achievements have to be known by us and pushed. out there. Next week, what we coming with next week?
Next week, we are going to continue our discussion of the disruptors, and we will be breaking down. We're going to start breaking down the disruptors one by one, and we're going to start with, I think the first disruptor that we met in this era, right? Yeah, silence is co-signing, and I ain't no co-signer. The first disruptor that we met in this era, kind of starting with the '96 Olympic team and on into the WNBA. So we'll be looking at Cheryl Swoops as this disruptor that she has been from the time she hit. It's pretty interesting. Like Cheryl this year is like Cheryl this year is dropping phone numbers on Twitter. She is here for all the smoke. She's not playing. But we're gonna go back and we're gonna start at the very, 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 very beginning of this WNBA thing and see how she started disrupting it way earlier. It's gonna give us an opportunity to talk about some other ladies. And we're gonna take a deep dive into the disruption of this thing. From Cheryl, and we'll be able to look at Katrina McClain and Teresa Edwards, and even from a coaching standpoint, see Vivian Stringer, Carolyn Peck, some of the ways that we've been able to just disrupt and carve our own little niche into some of these areas that they haven't wanted us in over the next few weeks. But we'll be starting with Cheryl Swoops next week. So looking forward to that. Political Lil. As always, a great conversation. We appreciate y'all pulling up with us. 75 in the chat right now. Some kind of way the math ain't math. And some of y'all came here and it did not hit the like on the way in. Because I'm only seeing 41
on the way out.
Hit them likes on the way out. If you want to contribute to the pull up, hit the Cash App. Make sure y'all are following Cess Talk Sports on all platforms. Me and Political Lil gonna be bringing this thing to y'all once a week. Political Lil also will be launching a YouTube channel here soon, and keeping the conversation going even more. So looking forward to PWIs and Cess Talk Sports continuing our work. And with that, y'all, until next time.
Thank you all for coming, listening, and responding.
Absolutely, and participating in the conversation, y'all. I appreciate the way y'all participate in the conversation. I learn something from y'all every time. Until next time, y'all stay tuned. Talk soon. We out.